Hey, this past weekend, last weekend, I got to go to Chicago and be a part of DeVry University's graduation session. And it's always such a special time of the year for me. I love it. I've been a board member of DeVry for about 8 years, I believe it's been. And without a doubt, the graduation ceremonies are so awesome. It's so incredible to watch people who just come from so many different walks of life and start at so many different places. A lot of people who are graduating may not have believed they could even make it to that point before they enrolled to go to school. Maybe have had given up on a college education, had thought maybe it's not possible for them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and had a number of different reasons why they may believe that. I think most of you have heard my story, but I went from high school to college. In my 12th year of high school, I was the guy who was somewhat failing. We just had a horrible number of things happen within our family. I deserted school for a minute, tried to work full time. My grades plummeted, of course, couldn't make the money I thought I needed to make to take care of the home, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I finally went back to school that year and became the most improved student in the city, if you could believe that. Channel 10 came out, honored your boy, did all those different things. Wonderful. But then I wanted to go to college and I wanted to go to Temple University to focus on communications, got to Temple, and I lasted 2 days because my financial aid didn't come through. And unfortunately, my mom made too much for grant. So we were just in a small sliver. And I abandoned the idea of college for a moment. I went to Computer Learning Center, did some things there, decided I didn't want to be a programmer after that. Man, you talk about a rough patch of time. And so nevertheless, I found a stride in my career. I was doing well, but always had this itch of, shouldn't I get this formal education? Shouldn't I avail myself of that education? And I went back and I didn't finish my graduating until I was 34 years old. And I'll never forget it because even though I was quote unquote doing well within my career, the degree added a different dimension. And you've heard me talk about the value of education, so I won't go into that right now. We'll come back to it later. But I'll tell you that it was so rewarding on so many levels. And so it's a personal thing for me as well when I'm sitting on stage, watching folks come across the stage and watching their excitement, whether they do it through a dance, whether it's the tears they shed, whether it's just saluting their family, and then their families are losing their minds in such an appropriate way. If you ask my opinion, they are jumping up and down there, screaming out. It's so funny because the person leading it always says, hold all your applause to the end. And we all sit there, look at each other on stage and go, yeah, right. That's not going to happen. As their loved ones come across the stage, there is just too much excitement to hold. And so it goes wild. And so I say all that to say, all of those individuals coming from different places, starting at different places, many who are the first time college attendee in their family now have a different trajectory in front of them. If you ask my humble opinion, their drive to pursue their full potential is on another level. And so I just encourage you to think about being a lifetime learner. So many of those folks who graduated plan to continue to do more. It may not be next week, next month, even later this year, but they have a plan to take their learning to a next level and do that on a continuous basis. And there's 4 things to remember about lifetime learning, being a lifetime learner. One, it teaches you adaptability. As you continue to learn and have an appetite for learning, you become more adaptable. You're taking in more information with intention, and you're using that information to constantly create a better you, constantly shed things that no longer make sense and embrace things that make a lot of sense. 2, it enhances your creativity. As you get to learn more, it opens your aperture on how you think about things, family. And so your creativity can't help but expand because you've availed yourself to more thought processes, to more fundamental basics, to more options, if you will. And so it expands your creativity. Thirdly, it fosters resilience. And I mean, if the first 2 weren't enough, just think about resilience and sometimes the lack thereof that we sense in our culture. Resilience, that ability to take a shot and come back off the ropes, the ability to have a plan, but then find out as you go to start executing some of the things you thought would be true are just not true. And so you have to adjust. Resilience is, to me, a quality that is so needed overall for us. And man, just think about learning and its attachment and how it lifts resilience. And last but not least, it opens up career opportunities. And isn't that what most folks are looking for? Whether you want to take the leap or not right now, whether you're satisfied with what you're doing right now or not, here's the secret. Opportunities come to you, the best ones typically, when you are not looking for them. I just want you to take that in. When you are at a point where you are looking for the job, it's that much more difficult. When you quote unquote, I don't need the job next, or this new opportunity, or this new business venture, etc., man, that is when the best things show up. So being a lifetime learner, family, is so valuable, excuse me. And I encourage you to consider, what are you learning today? What are you planning to learn tomorrow? What's your plan to be learning next month, and so on?